Welcome back to Easy English for You, the place where learning English feels fun and natural. I'm Claudia.
And I'm Daniel.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
We're really excited to have you here with us.
We truly are. We love seeing how our community grows every week. It's amazing to see so many of you working hard to improve your English.
That's right. And today we have something really useful for you. We're going to talk about everyday conversations, but at an intermediate level. These are the kinds of chats you might have with friends, at work, or even with neighbors.
Exactly. Sometimes people think that intermediate English is just about grammar rules or big vocabulary words, but it's really about having natural, flowing conversations about regular topics.
And remember, learning English is a daily journey. Some days feel easier than others, and that's totally normal. Every conversation you have, every word you learn, it all adds up.
Absolutely. Don't worry if you don't understand everything right away. Even native speakers learn new things every day. The most important thing is to stay curious and enjoy the ride.
So, grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's episode together.
All right. Today we have three fantastic words that you'll definitely hear in everyday conversations. Daniel, why don't you start us off?
Sure, my first word is hectic. This word means very busy or full of activity, usually in a stressful way. Example: my morning was so hectic. I had 3 meetings, answered dozens of emails, and barely had time for lunch.
Great choice, Daniel. Yes, hectic is really useful. I'd say it's when your schedule is completely crazy and you feel like you're running from one thing to another. Example, traffic was absolutely hectic during rush hour. It took me 2 hours to get home instead of the usual 30 minutes.
Exactly. Now, Claudia, what's your word?
My word is coincidence. This means when two things happen at the same time by chance, not because they were intended. Example, what a coincidence. I was just thinking about calling you when your message arrived.
Oh, I love that word. It's like when something unexpected connects in a surprising way. Example: it was such a coincidence running into my old teacher at the coffee shop. I hadn't seen her in 5 years.
Perfect. And our final word today is overwhelmed. This means feeling like you have too much to handle or deal with. Example, I felt completely overwhelmed on my first day at the new job. There was so much information to learn.
That's such an important word. Overwhelmed is when you feel like everything is just too much at once. Example: she was overwhelmed by all the birthday wishes and gifts. She never expected so many friends to remember.
Wonderful. So we have hectic, coincidence, and overwhelmed. These words will definitely come in handy during our conversation today.
Samantha's apartment story.
Hey, Michael, have you heard about Samantha's apartment search?
Yeah, she's been looking for weeks, right? It sounded pretty stressful.
Totally. She told me she was starting to feel a bit hopeless. Every place was either too expensive or in a bad location.
That's rough. So, did she finally find something?
Well, here's the funny part. She was at a cafe last weekend, just taking a break from all the hunting.
Oh, I can feel a story coming.
She noticed a woman at the next table reading the same rare book Samantha was carrying. They started chatting, and it turns out the woman was moving out of her apartment, exactly the kind Samantha had been looking for.
Wait, that's such a coincidence.
I know. And get this, the rent was within Samantha's budget, and the location was perfect.
That's amazing. So, what happened next?
The woman gave Samantha the landlord's number right there at the cafe. Samantha called the same day, saw the apartment, and signed the lease this week.
Wow, talk about being in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. She went from feeling completely overwhelmed to being thrilled in just a couple of days.
I guess sometimes the best things happen when you least expect them.
Couldn't agree more.
What a wonderful conversation. Did you notice how naturally Emma and Michael used our vocabulary words?
They certainly did. Hectic, overwhelmed, and coincidence all came up so naturally in their chat about Samantha's apartment story.
Now, let's break down what made this conversation so effective for intermediate learners.
There are several things I want to highlight here. First, notice how Emma and Michael didn't just exchange basic information. They told a complete story with details, emotions, and a clear beginning, middle, and end.
That's interesting. So it wasn't just small talk.
Exactly. This is what separates intermediate conversations from beginner ones. Emma could have simply said, Samantha found an apartment, but instead, she painted the whole scene. She mentioned the cafe location, described Samantha's emotional state, and even included the detail about forgetting lunch. This storytelling approach is crucial for B1 to B2 level speakers.
And Michael was really engaged throughout the story, wasn't he?
Absolutely. Michael used what we call active listening phrases. Things like, oh, this sounds like it's going somewhere interesting, and that's amazing. These expressions show he's following along and encourage Emma to continue. This back and forth creates a natural flow.
What about the vocabulary usage?
Yes. Notice how they moved from complaining about their busy week to finding a positive outlook. This emotional arc is typical in intermediate conversations. They're not just about exchanging facts, but about sharing feelings and finding meaning. Michael even applied Samantha's story to his own situation, which shows critical thinking.
Conversation also had a nice message, right?
Yes, on the surface level, it's two colleagues chatting. But on a deeper level, they are supporting each other through stress, sharing inspiring stories, and finding hope. This complexity is what intermediate learners need to master, understanding not just what speakers say, but why they say it and how it affects the relationship.
That makes sense. Should we move on to our next vocabulary set?
Great timing, Claudia. Let's introduce 3 more useful words for our next conversation.
Our second set of words is just as exciting. I'll start with subtle. This means something that's not obvious or direct, but requires attention to notice. Example: there was a subtle change in her tone when she mentioned her ex-boyfriend. You could tell she was still uncomfortable about it.
Excellent choice. Subtle is perfect for describing things that aren't immediately obvious but make a big difference. Example: the subtle lighting in the restaurant created such a romantic atmosphere that many couples chose it for their anniversary dinners.
Love that. Now, what's your word, Daniel?
I chose reluctant. This means being hesitant or unwilling to do something, usually because you have doubts or concerns. Example: Tom was reluctant to try the new restaurant because he'd heard mixed reviews about their service.
That's such a useful word. Shows that someone isn't completely against something, but they have reservations. Example: she was reluctant to share her idea during the meeting because she wasn't sure how her colleagues would react.
Exactly. And our final word?
The last one is assertive. This means being confident and direct in expressing your opinions or needs without being aggressive. Example: Maria was assertive during the negotiation. She clearly stated what she wanted but remained respectful throughout the discussion.
Perfect choice. Assertive is essential for describing confident communication. Example: his assertive response to the criticism showed that he could defend his work without becoming defensive or rude.
Wonderful. So we have subtle, reluctant, and assertive. These words will definitely enhance our next conversation.
The birthday dinner.
So, guess what? Last week, Mariana wanted to take her dad to this really fancy restaurant for his birthday.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, but when she checked the menu online, she saw the prices and nearly fell off her chair.
How expensive are we talking?
Like $50 for the cheapest main dish. And that's without drinks or dessert.
Whoa, that's pretty steep.
Exactly. So she started thinking, instead of spending all that money, why not make something special at home?
That's a good idea. Homemade food can be even better, especially if it's for family.
That's what she thought too. She made her dad's favorite lasagna, garlic bread, and a big salad. And for dessert, she baked a chocolate cake from scratch.
Nice. How did it go?
He loved it. He even said it was the best birthday dinner he'd had in years.
That's awesome. And probably way less stressful than dealing with a fancy restaurant.
Totally. Plus, it gave them more time to talk and enjoy the evening without worrying about the bill.
Sounds like a win-win. What an authentic conversation. You could really hear how naturally our vocabulary words flowed throughout their discussion.
Yes, they used reluctant, subtle, and assertive in such realistic ways while solving a real friendship challenge. And that's a wrap for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed these conversations as much as we did.
Yes, we talked about real situations, stress, friendship, and how small things can bring surprising changes.
Exactly. And remember, learning English isn't just about grammar or long lists of words. It's about using language to connect, express yourself, and grow.
And that takes time. Some days feel easier, others a bit slow, but every little step matters.
So be proud of yourself for showing up today, listening, thinking, learning. It all adds up. And don't worry if you need to hear things more than once. That's how we all grow.
If you like today's episode, give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with a friend who's also learning English.
And if you want more, stay tuned. We have many more real conversations coming your way.
Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep learning one day at a time.
See you soon.